What's that? Yes, now we're going to do Damodarastakam. No, that's not what I'm looking for. Oh, that's not what I'm looking for either. Okay, this will have to do, hopefully. All right. All right, so we all know the first verse, right? Namamishwaram Sachidananda Rupam Lasat Kundalam Gokule Brajamanam Ishoda Violu Kaladavamanam Padam Rishtamatyanta Jrutya Gopya. So before we begin, well, I'll read the first verse. Before I speak, we'll do our pranams to the Gurus. To the Supreme Lord, whose form is the embodiment of eternal existence, knowledge, and bliss, whose shark-shaped earrings are swinging to and fro, who is beautifully shining in the divine realm of Gokul, who, due to the offense of breaking the pot of yogurt that his mother was churning into butter, and then stealing the butter that was kept hanging from a swing, is quickly running from the wooden grinding mortar in fear of Mother Yashoda, but who has been caught from behind by her, who ran after him with greater speed. To that Supreme Lord, Sri Damodar, I offer my humble obeisances. So, I know when I first started reading this, I was just kind of like confused, like, well, this is kind of like a silly little pastime. Why is this such a big deal? Why do we have to sing about this? Why is this so important? I will try and get into that very soon. But before I do, let me try and secure blessings so that I can explain something properly, because actually I'm a great fool. And if you try to, if I try to give my own explanation, it'll be useless, because I really don't know anything. But I have heard things from the acharyas, and I'll try and share that which I've heard. So before I share from what I've heard from them, I will glorify our acharyas. In our Guru Parampara, leading all the way back through Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, leading even further back to Sri Sri Radha and Krishna themselves, and even Yashoda and Damodar, who Meghna has graced to our altar there, and painted in such an ecstatic way, so we can appreciate their pastime. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishlam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhani Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvyeva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Eshatarine Jai. So,
I will clarify it for you.
Sure, please,
Yes.
Piyush.
So the thing is, Bhishma was on the bed of arrows for 58 days.
Yes.
Yes, and he fasted for 58 days, and he fell on the 10th day of
Yes.
Mahabharata. He laid on the bed for 58 days. Mahabharata war was for 18 days. 8 days for the war, and next 50 days till Uttarayan.
Yes.
And in the meantime, he was given lessons to Yudhishthira and Pandavas how to rule the life.
Yes.
So why Kartik month? Kartik month is a very auspicious, devotional and spiritually moving month. So the last 5 days of Kartik are very moving and very auspicious. So to mark the dedication and devotion of Bhishma is a symbolic vrat that people take of the dedication Bhishma showed on the battlefield of relieving himself of any substance of water or anything, any austere. He, being on the battlefield, chose vrat in a way
Yes.
to be there. So it's a symbolic strength shown by devotees to use it as a symbol that how much strength a person has shown to fast on the battlefield. So to glorify this auspicious last 5 days and follow the vrat like Bhishma did to make best use of the Kartik month, ending of the Kartik month.
Very
It has
good.
nothing to do with Bhishma's lying for 5 days.
Yes.
Bhishma fasted for more than 5 days.
Yeah.
But it's like to make the Kartik month ending more fruitful, spiritually advancing.
Yes.
People do 5 days fast in
Yeah.
observance and the strength of Bhishma, because Bhishma was enduring so much pain and still he was fasting.
Yes.
That.
Well, he actually did fast completely from water and food for 5 days before Arjuna. There's a pastime in the Mahabharata where Bhishma said, only Arjuna can slake my thirst. So Arjuna knew what he was doing, and he actually chanted a mantra, and he shot an arrow into the ground,
Yeah.
and he penetrated a underground river, and water shot up and came into Bhishma's mouth. And then actually Krishna blessed him that even though you'll fast, you won't find hunger or pain or anything like that for the next, I think 53 days before, after the war was over. Yudhishthira and the gang all came back, and Bhishma instructed them before he left his body. This is all actually in the Bhagavatam.
Yeah.
But it's good to know. I knew
It's a
it.
symbolic thing.
Yeah, it couldn't have made sense that if the Bhagavad Gita is going to be spoken next month, it couldn't have made sense that the 5 days that Bhishma fasted were now. But it is the last 5 days of Kartik. It's very important, and the blessings are ramped up. And if you follow,
Yeah.
hello.
So it's called Panchak because not only Bhishma fasted for 5 days, it's because Bhishma's significance of 5 days were used in Kartik.
Yeah,
So,
Shivadas.
Hare
Hare Krishna.
So what I have read, I may be wrong. I may be wrong also. But the Panchak thing is of Kartik 5 days and Bhishma's Panchak because it is using Bhishma's fasting strength on this day or for 5 days.
Yes.
So Panchak is not from the actual fasting because he fasted for 58 days. But Panchak is because of these 5 days of Kartik that people observe.
Yes, yes.
It's because of
And
that.
it surely must reference the 5 days that he fasted because he had a little water. When Arjuna, he was very thirsty and then the pastime. So it must represent this. But this is good to know because I was confused. I was saying, well, it doesn't
His
line up.
chronology is mostly symbolic.
Yeah, okay.
His devotion.
Yes, yes. And then the Kartik month, which we're in right now, is very auspicious.
Yeah.
So I'm very glad to know. So thank you, Piyush. Everyone can thank Piyush for doing the research. That's very good. Shivadas, welcome. We sing a song during this month, every night actually, and every morning we've been doing. But every night is the recommendation. And we offer lamps. And now we're going to go through the song and see what it means. So we just talked about how, the Satyavrata Muni, who is the author of this Astakam, the Damodarastakam, he's saying to the Supreme Lord, whose form is the embodiment of eternal existence, knowledge, and bliss. So he's giving God's position as pretty much almighty, full of eternal existence, knowledge, and pleasure, bliss, whose shark-shaped earrings are swinging to and fro. Which is, if you understand when Krishna was a child, like that little Ladu Gopal representation of Krishna, or you see him there with Mother Yashoda down on the altar. He has these little makara or sharp-shaped earrings. Makaras are actually said to be, my moon sign in Vedic astrology is Makara Rashi, and it's said to be like almost like a siren type of animal, but it's supposed to resemble somehow sensuality or like almost lust even. But it's supposed to stimulate attraction, which is also an interesting thing that he wears the shark-shaped earrings because he's the all attractive. Krishna means most attractive, all attractive. So, but makaras are I've heard that they're half like deer and half crocodile leg. They're like an odd sea creature with animalistic qualities. But anyway, it says shark-shaped earrings here. So, but anyhow, that's not too important. But who is beautifully shining in the divine realm of Gokul, who due to the offense of... and it's referencing the pastime of Damodar Lila. If we remember, we talked about it. We talked about it a few weeks ago, where Krishna, when his mother was breastfeeding him, she went to go catch the milk on the stove that was boiling over. So when she went to go catch the milk on the stove, he turned and he got upset with her, and he threw a stone at a yogurt pot. But what happened was that yogurt wasn't good yogurt, so just kind of water was coming out of the yogurt pot. Before yogurt finishes, it'll be very watery in certain places. So the yogurt wasn't finished. So then he ran to the other room and then broke another yogurt pot that had the good yogurt in it, and he started eating it and feeding it to the monkeys, and he was being very naughty like this. So this pastime is being referenced. And he's saying he's offering his respectful obeisances unto that eternal, all-knowledgeable, and blissful God who is running with his little shark-shaped earrings, or makara-shaped earrings. And he's quickly running from the wooden grinding mortar in fear of Mother Yashoda. Why? Because he climbed up on the grinding mortar to get the butter pot and steal the butter, and also feed the butter to the monkeys and all the other things. I don't know if you remember the pastime. But anyhow, so it's almost like paradoxical. Here is the almighty, all-powerful, all-wonderful God running in fear. How is God in fear? How is God in fear of anybody? This is a paradox. How can the Almighty be afraid of anybody? And what's to speak of his own mother? But yes, this is the pastime, that Krishna is running in fear of Mother Yashoda, who has been caught from behind. How can the all-powerful God, who's faster than anyone in the world, how can he be caught by a mere lady? Nothing against ladies, but I know my mom is not that fast. When I was naughty, when I was a kid, I was always running from my mom, and she was not. She caught me sometimes, actually. But how can God get caught by anybody? So anyway, it's almost paradoxical. So he says, to that Supreme Lord, Sri Damodar, I offer my humble obeisances. And then we know, right? Rudantam moho netra yugmam rijantam karamboja yugmena satanka netram muhushvasa kampa tridekanka kantha stita gribam damodaram bhakti badham. Seeing the whipping stick in his mother's hand, he is crying and rubbing his eyes again and again with his two lotus hands. His eyes are filled with fear, and the necklace of pearls around his neck, which is marked with the 3 lines like a conch shell, is shaking because of his quick breathing due to crying. To the Supreme Lord Sri Damodar, his belly is bound not with ropes, but with his mother's pure love. I offer my humble obeisances. So, again, paradoxical. He's this beautiful little baby boy, but it's been acknowledged he is the all-powerful God, the almighty, supreme God, Satchidananda God. Goshik, remember what we said about those? That's right, only in the other room. Remember?
I forgot again.
That's okay. We'll just have to keep you on track, okay? So anyway, he's crying and rubbing his eyes again and again. Who could make the Lord cry? Who can make the all-powerful Lord cry? It said when Krishna would go into battle, in Dwarka Leela and all these things, he would be laughing as arrows are striking him and blood is being shed. In the Mahabharata war, it's Bhishma Panchak. Bhishma would shoot Krishna with arrows, actually. That was one of the strategies. When you were going into war with someone, you would try and kill the charioteer. So many times, and this would really enrage Arjuna when Krishna would get hurt and get shot. But Krishna would laugh off arrows, shot by expert warriors like Bhishma, who's the most powerful warrior on the planet, maybe other than Krishna. But anyway, here he is crying and rubbing his eyes again and again. He's afraid of his mother's whipping stick. What can a stick do to the Almighty God? Why would he be afraid? But it's actually explained. The hint is given here. To the Supreme Lord Sri Damodar, whose belly is bound not with ropes, but his mother's pure love, I offer my humble obeisance. If you remember, it's a paradox. Who can bind God? Who can tie up God? Nobody. How can God be bound by anyone? In Christian religion, right, they have the Satan, the devil who's gonna, try and thwart all of God's plans. But it's always known that God will always overcome the devil, right? But here we see Krishna is being overcome. But it tells you who's overcoming him. He's not bound with ropes. He's bound with his mother's pure love. Because she wanted to serve him. And she's engaged in bhakti, what we're trying to do. Actually, this is how God is conquered. Not with anything other than pure love. So he's kind of marveling at this. He's marveling at this pastime. That to the Supreme Lord, who is being bound up by his mother, who's shaking in fear and crying before his mother. Why? Out of her affection, out of her love. She wanted to punish Krishna for his naughty childhood activities. And in her love and affection for him, he exhibits fear. That's how powerful her love is. No amount of weaponry, no amount of anything. He's the most chivalrous. He'll laugh in battle. But just see, when she's chasing him with the stick right here, he's running, he's crying, he's trembling. So we'll do the next verse. Iti driksvalila bir ananda kunde Spagosham nimajantam akyapayantam Tadiyeshita gyeshu bhakterjitatvam Puna prematastam shatavriti bande. By such childhood pastimes as this, he is drowning the inhabitants of Gokul in pools of ecstasy, and is revealing to those devotees who are absorbed in knowledge of his supreme majesty and opulence that he has only conquered whose pure love is imbued with intimacy and is free from all conceptions of awe and reverence. With great love, I again offer my obeisances to Lord Sri Damodar, hundreds and hundreds of times. So he's saying by these type of pastimes, he's proving that how all of the devotees are, he's drowning them all in pools of ecstasy. These type of devotees who are on a path called the Raganuga path, or even actually the Ragatmik path. They're on, we're trying to practice maybe one day Raganuga, which is the followers of these Ragatmik devotees. But they're so absorbed in intimacy with Krishna that all supreme majesty and opulence that God has, they don't see that. They don't see that. They only see the sweetness, the intimacy, where Krishna is their friend. Krishna can be their child. Krishna could be their, little boyfriend or girlfriend, or not the girlfriend, but you could be a little girlfriend to Krishna. This is, these are the Ragatmik devotees, and this is what Satyavrata Muni, he's actually praying about. He says he's only conquered by devotees whose pure love is imbued with intimacy and free from all conceptions of awe and reverence. So only this type of devotee is actually conquering God. You see, maybe a very demonic person wants to conquer God. Actually, in the Bhagavatam, many demonic personalities do want to conquer God. But ultimately, who gets to conquer God? It's only his pure devotees. That's the only ones who actually get to conquer God. We may try so many things to thwart all of God's plans for us. But ultimately, no one ever conquers God except those who have a very deep love with him in intimacy, and he's completely overwhelmed by this deep love. So this is the Raga path, the path of attachment. Just complete attachment and love for the Lord, and he's completely conquered by this. Most of us were trying to exploit God for something. All right, God, I'll pray to you, and I want my finances to go nicely. I want my family to be taken care of nicely. I want nice relationships. I want nice friends in this world. I want to enjoy the material world, and that's what our relationship with God is about. But these people are on a different level. These devotees are on a different level. They don't care about their own personal happiness at all. They only care about giving pleasure to the Lord. And ultimately, what's that? In sweetness and intimacy. And this is actually exhibited by the residents of Vrindavan. So of course, he's praying to maintain this image. Well, you'll see that. But he's offering his obeisances to Sri Damodar, the name of Krishna, who is bound by the ropes. It wasn't ropes. It was said he wasn't bound with ropes in the past verse. He was bound by his mother's love. This is what binds Krishna or God, is our love. Actually, that's the only thing that can bind him. You can't tie him up with ropes. You can't do anything. You can't cheat God. You can't overcome God. None of that. Except if you have such an intense affection and love for him, he is completely conquered by your desires and in your intimacy. So this is actually what we want to hear about, and we want to actually cultivate ourselves. Not to conquer God. We don't care for conquering God. But just that's a symptom of when we develop such love and affection for the Lord. He's conquered, and he actually, you see this, devotees, he fulfills their desires. We chant Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. And I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnavas, the devotees of the Lord, who are just like desire trees and fulfill the desires of everyone. Why do they fill the desires of everyone? Is because they ultimately have conquered the Lord, and when they desire something, the Lord reciprocates. They don't have to even plea or anything. It's just whatever they desire. Why do they desire things, a Vaishnava? In service to the Lord. Oh, I wish I had this so I can serve the Lord better, and then He will arrange. He'll arrange for that thing. Why? Because He's conquered by those Vaishnavas. And so naturally, when they desire, your well-being, and they desire what you desire, or they want to help you, this is the best way to get blessings in your life, is to please the Vaishnavas. So anyhow, this is what conquers God. We want to pray to God, but He may or may not give, depending on our intentions. But if the pure devotee wants something, and we appease and appeal to the pure devotee, and the pure devotee wants something, he's conquered by that person. In essence, they're actually more powerful than God, because of the deep love that they have for the Supreme Lord. So this is the secret, right? That's why we chant the Vanchakalpa prayer. They're kalpatarus. They're wish-fulfilling trees. This is the nature of devotees. So anyway, Mother Yashoda wished to bind Krishna and punish him and chastise him. And so she was able to do it, actually. She was able to do it only because of her intense desire to serve Krishna in intimacy. She wanted to make nice sweets and yogurts and all kinds of products for Krishna to enjoy. And he was getting in the way of his own enjoyment. So she said, I must punish him. And Krishna, because of she gave so much intense endeavor. She tried to bind him so many times, but because he's a God, you cannot bind God. But with such intense endeavor, you could say her bhajan. And eventually Krishna, he's conquered by this type of endeavor to serve him. And then eventually he gives his mercy, fine, I'm under your control. So Satyavrata Muni is very much appreciating this type of pastime. So anyhow, we'll go on to the next verse. Varam deva moksham na mokshavadhim va nachanyam vrineham vadeshadapiha idam teva purnatha gopala balam sadame manasya virastam kimanye. He says, O Lord, although you're able to give all kinds of benedictions, I do not pray to you for the boon of impersonal liberation, nor the highest liberation of eternal life in Vaikuntha, nor any other boon which may be obtained by executing the 9 processes of bhakti. O Lord, I simply wish that this form of yours as Bala Gopal in Vrindavan may ever be manifest in my heart. For what is the use to me of any other boon beside this? So this is actually quite deep, right? Because right now we emphasize this so much. What is the first 3 processes of bhakti? Someone tell me. Most important processes. Yes. Shravanam Kirtanam. Shravanam is hearing about Krishna. Even in the beginning it might be difficult because the mind is so entranced in the material world. So as soon as someone starts talking about God or Krishna, we might, really struggle to hear it. Maybe, naturally, we might get a little sleepy. We might, get a little disinterested, or we might, it could happen. Actually, it said it will happen. It's a guarantee in the beginning. But if you push through, you'll make advancement and be happy. Very happy to hear it. But anyway, it's actually mentioned those main 9 processes of bhakti: Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam. These 9 processes of bhakti, actually he doesn't even want any of that. What's to speak of impersonal liberation, being absorbed in meditation and just feeling that you're one with it all. There's many yoga paths that are promoting the oneness. Yes, there's a certain level of bliss that comes there. It's called the Brahmabhuta stage. It's mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita. And it said from that stage, bhakti can actually begin. But he's saying, I don't want the highest liberation of eternal life in Vaikuntha. We have all kinds of different bhaktas out there. Vishnu bhaktas, Someone was asking me this morning, why are you chanting Krishna bhakti in the Tulsi prayer? I've heard it was Vishnu bhakti. And I just kind of was like, well, the Vishnu bhaktas can chant Vishnu bhakti, but the Krishna bhaktas can chant Krishna bhakti. Why? Because the highest liberation, eternal life in Vaikuntha, where the Vishnu bhaktas go, because the Lord is always in a very opulent position. Maybe Jesus was referring to this kingdom of God where he's the Almighty Father. This is very fine. This is very good. This is way better than any impersonal liberation. What's to speak of any material pleasures of this material world? What?
I heard something on this Vishnu or Krishna Bhakti recently from Kishore Mahaprabhu. He was saying that, Rajas Gurudev was saying that actually Vishnu's all pervading, right? But he said, but Vishnu is an expansion of Krishna, and Krishna's all pervading. But what's all pervading Krishna's heart, and that's Radharani. So it said actually Radharani got me because it's like code for like Radharani instead of like Vishnu.
Okay.
Speaking of Radharani Bhakti, so I know they also say Krishna Bhakti, but he was saying even if you say Vishnu Bhakti, it's still.
Yeah. I mean, you could say either or. It's not a bad thing, but ultimately this song that Srila Prabhupada and our acharyas have given is giving the conclusions of our philosophy. We're not in it for trying to even be like the most humble servant of the Lord, and he's in the opulent almighty position like this, because actually it's there's no real great relationship in that. Like imagine like for instance Tej, he manages many things in his life and he has some people working for him, but if they're working for him and they're yes master, it's I don't want that type of relationship, like it's not a good thing like this, or if that's the relationship, it's very like surface level, it's all going to be business, all about work, no problem. But the relationship that Tej's kids or his wife or his intimate friends have with him, it's much different. No one's calling him master, but the relationship is actually much sweeter in that position. So that's a mundane example, but similarly the Lord, for the highest levels of intimacy with the Lord, it's not about the great master and the little servant. Factually that's true. If you use any rational reasoning of our position compared to God's, we are infinitely small and he is infinitely great. But that type of relationship ultimately isn't the most pleasing to him. That type of relationship is ultimately not going to be the most pleasing for us. So Satyavrata Muni, he says he doesn't want the highest liberation of eternal life in Vaikuntha. And what is liberation? Liberation is freedom from suffering. This is what liberation is. So we don't care about, I got to get rid of all my material sufferings. I'm suffering from this in this world. I'm suffering from that. I'm suffering from this. These, maybe at some level in the beginning you're trying to get rid of your sufferings. But if you know there's something much higher than that, you realize, this is like broken glass compared to jewels. I want to go over here and collect this broken glass. No, we got like trillions of dollars worth of jewels ready for us here. And we're over here scraping up glass off the street. It's foolish. But if we don't know anything more than glass, we might think glass is the topmost thing. But if we know of the precious jewels, so our acharyas, they know of these precious jewels beyond even the kingdom of God, where the Almighty Father is looking over you and you can serve him, you can fan him, and that's a fine relationship, no problem. But then he's saying, nor any other boon, which may be obtained by executing the 9 processes of bhakti. So we see actually in the Srimad Bhagavatam, especially in the first 9 cantos, how the Vaidhi Bhakti path, the path of following the scriptures, the path of being regulated in your bhakti processes. And it's recommended that you should learn these, because if you don't learn these, you might try and overqualify yourself and actually do something quite abominable. This happens way more than in all kinds of Gaudiya Vaishnava, all kinds of lineages. People try and put themselves on a higher platform than they actually are, or assume they're on a higher platform than they actually are, and then they make a complete fool of themselves, and they actually have a very dissatisfying experience with their so-called bhakti. Why? Because they're kind of pretending. That's really what they're doing. They're pretending. So anyhow, the 9 processes of bhakti, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Archanam, Dini worship, Vandanam, composing prayers, Dasyam, taking the mood of a servant, Sakyam, developing friendship, Atma Nivedanam, even fully surrendering oneself unto the Lord. He doesn't even want that, even though that's a very high thing. That's a very, very high thing. We teach that high thing here. Why? Because from where we're at, it's actually the gradual stepping stone for us. But what Satyavrata Muni is looking at, it's not attractive at all. It's like, oh, I don't want that. So anyway, he says, O Lord, I simply wish that this form of yours as Bala Gopal in Vrindavan may ever be manifest in my heart. For what is the use to me of any other boon besides this? He wants to see Bal Gopal. He wants to see Krishna in this very sweet form. Interestingly enough, though, his mood will evolve in a way as well. So he's saying the intimacy of seeing Krishna with his intimate relatives and servants and friends, this is much better than anything previously. Remember, Vaidhi Bhakti is just because the scriptures say this, I'm going to follow this. So you start getting really tuned up with, I'm going to follow the scriptures. Oh, the scriptures say I should fast like this, I should do this, I should do that, I should do this and this and this and this. And then you can get really caught up in doing all that. But actually, that's not what pleases the Lord. What pleases the Lord is your bhakti, your intimacy, your love, your attachment. Raga, the path of raga means attachment. Your attachment to the Lord. So this is ultimately your attraction. That's what Krishna means. All attractive. That's what he's attracted to. Your attraction. But what are we attracted to? Most of us were attracted to temporary things. Like maybe a little wealth, maybe the opposite sex, or the pleasure derived from the opposite sex. Maybe we're attracted to good tasting food. Maybe we're attracted to this, that, and the other. But these are all temporary, fleeting things. They can never give you long-term happiness. But actually your relationship with the Lord can give you infinite happiness for eternity. And it's ever evolving, ever expanding. There's always more fun on the horizon when the Lord is present. Especially in the sweet pastimes of Vrindavan, which is what he's looking at. So he says, what is the use of any other boon besides this? Idam te mukambo jam atyanta nile Britam kuntale snita raktaishcha gopya Muhush chumbitam bimba raktadarame Manasya virastamalam lakshalabhai. I should mention trying to give some commentary on this. This was recommended by Srila Prabhupada, and I read recently a book by Srila Narayan Maharaj about Sanatana Goswami's commentary on, and Srila Prabhupada's also sannyas guru, you could say, his godbrother who gave him sannyas, who was Srila Narayan Maharaj's Diksha guru, Om Pragyan Keshava Goswami, their commentary on this, and that's kind of where I'm drawing anything from. Actually, I'm just reading the words that of ISKCON's translation. of Damodarastakam, but I'm giving a little bit of conclusions based from that source. So it's not like, oh, he's making things up so nicely. I don't want to take credit for things that I don't. I'm actually a great fool, and if I actually were to do any justice to the position of reciting anything, I would be repeating from those who are not great fools. But me in the position of a great fool, I'm just repeating what I've heard. So that's all I'm doing. So anyway, this verse says, "O Lord, your lotus face, which is encircled by locks of soft black hair tinged with red, is kissed again and again by Mother Yashoda, and your lips are reddish like the bimba fruit. May this beautiful vision of your lotus face be ever manifest in my heart. Thousands and thousands of other benedictions are of no use to me." So this actually starts to reference how the evolution is going of Satyavrata Muni's prayer. He's meditating on Mother Yashoda's kissing of Krishna and his little beautiful locks of soft black hair tinged with red, and talking about his lips reddish like the bimba fruit, and how beautiful the vision of his lotus face. Actually, Sanatana Goswami, he actually alludes that talking about this, he's actually also alluding to Krishna's kissing with the gopis as well. And actually there's a Damodar Leela with the gopis as well, where they bind Krishna with Radharani's sari, and they're able to bind him in ties. So actually Sanatana Goswami is alluding to some of these things. But he said Satyavrata Muni is alluding to it, but these are very confidential things. So, and also remember, you should know that we should not try and talk about very confidential things. So Jesus talks about you shouldn't cast pearls before swine. We shouldn't try and give the highest things. It's an offense. It's a nam aparad, an offense to the holy name. And we try and expand on the glories of the holy name before a faithless person. So similarly, to try and give the most confidential moods, Satyavrata Muni, he's actually beginning cryptically right here, but talking about the attractive kissing of Krishna and all this is also alluding to other pastimes of Krishna as well. So that's a little secret I learned recently from Sanatana Goswami's commentary on this. But anyway, Namo Deva Damodarananta Vishnu Prasida Prabodhuka Jalabdi Magnam Kripa Drishti Vrishtyati Dinam Bhatanu Grihani Shamamagyam Idyakshi Drishyaha. He says, O Supreme Godhead, I offer my obeisances unto you. O Damodar, O Ananta, O Vishnu, O Master, O my Lord, be pleased upon me. By showering your glance of mercy upon me, deliver this poor ignorant fool who is immersed in an ocean of worldly sorrows and become visible to my eyes. This is all of us. We're all poor ignorant fools, immersed in an ocean of worldly sorrows. We're so much lamenting over things that have nothing to do with anything valuable to us. And what does he want? Become visible to my eyes. This is the symptom of bhav. This is the symptom of actual spiritual emotion, that you want to see Krishna. You want to experience Krishna. And all the other things, maybe some wealth, maybe some pleasure, eating, sleeping, mating, defending, all of those type of pleasures, that's useless for those who are actually, have this jewel of bhav, these spiritual emotions have arisen. And it's guaranteed to arise, actually, after you follow the processes. If you somehow or other you can meet one of these type of spiritual personalities, and they can instill that mood into you. And it can happen, even, or if you hear or read from such personalities, and somehow or other they can inspire that mood in you. This can be possible. But he's saying, oh Damodar, remember Damodar is referencing this pastime of Krishna being bound by his mother, bound by his devotees. But also remember, that Sanatana Goswami is saying, also talking of the binding of Krishna by the gopis, which are his highest devotees. But only, this is like kind of the confidential vision of this. So anyhow, but he's saying, O Ananta, Ananta means unending. O Vishnu, meaning all-pervading. O Master, O my Lord, be pleased upon me. By showering your glance of mercy upon me, deliver this poor ignorant fool, immersed in the ocean of worldly sorrows, and become visible to my eyes. That's what he wants. He wants Krishna's darshan. We should all want that. This is in the Madhurya Kadambini. It's talking about this person who've reached Bhav. That's all they're looking for Krishna everywhere. And actually, the topmost, Krishna will reveal himself. He'll be conquered by that type of love. And actually, the Bhav will evolve into Prem, and then they'll be able to see Krishna everywhere. But when that happens, actually, it's likely that living entity won't have much desire to be in this material world much longer. And actually, Krishna will usually arrange that they leave pretty soon after. But this is, this is not, the goal is that we actually want to be intimately connected. And we should understand, everyone wants to try and be happy in this world, but eventually the body is going to go. Everyone is practically experiencing, I just learned a verse in Bhagavad Gita today. Dehinasmin yatha dehe komaram yovanam jara tatha tatha dehantaras praptir. No, I already forgot it. I'm going to remember it. Dhiras tatra namuhyati. And it means, it's a verse in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, as the embodied soul passes from boyhood to youth to old age. At death, the body will similarly pass into another body. And the self-realized person is not bewildered by such a change. But oftentimes we're lamenting getting old, we're lamenting dying, we're lamenting, when our friends die or other people die. Why? Because we're not self-realized. But the self-realized person actually can embrace death. And that's what this level of prema bhakti, they just want to see Krishna and be with Krishna. And that usually means they want to go to the spiritual world. That's what they're ready for. That's not where we're at, right? We want to enjoy everything in this material world. And even we want to try and enjoy Krishna in this material world. And we can to a certain degree. Krishna can give actually that vision. But, the ultimate goal is going to be, Prabhupada would always say, I want you to go back home, back to Godhead. That's where it's going to be. And this is like a training ground right now towards that eternal service. So anyway, he's what? What are you talking about? No, you might as well just say you're interrupting. Okay. It's okay. Anyhow. Kuberatmajo badha mortyaiva yadva tvayamochito bhakti bhajo kritocha tatha prema bhaktim svakame prayacha namokshe grahomesti damodareha. He says, oh Lord Damodar, just as the two sons of Kuvera, Manigriva and Nalakuvara, were delivered from the curse of Narada and made into great devotees by you in your form as a baby, tied with rope to a wooden grinding mortar. In the same way, please give to me your own prema bhakti. I only long for this and have no desire for any kind of liberation. So he's saying that these two sons of Kuvera, Manigriva and Nalakuvara, they were drunkards, and they loved to enjoy naked women in the riverbed. That was like what they loved to do. Drink wine, get all the opulent things, and get their naked, beautiful women, and enjoy, or try to enjoy. So one day Narad Muni passed by, and Narad Muni is a great sage, and the women saw that he was a sage, and they wanted to cover up. Oh my gosh. So instead of acknowledging the sage had come, Nalakuvara and Manigriva were so drunk that they were calling back for the women. Like, no, come, where are you going? We have more enjoying to do. And then Narada's from the distance seeing this, and he shouts, "You great fools!" And he decides, "I'm going to curse you to become trees for millions of years." So they're getting very afraid of this. But actually, when a sage curses you, this is actually a wonderful thing. When a devotee, especially of the caliber of Narada Muni, they're displeased with you, their curse will be a great benediction for you. Let's just say you displease the devotees for somehow or other. It's very possible in our life to displease devotees. We've probably already done it a bit. I know I have. Their displeasure with you will actually be your great blessing. So they might feel, okay, look at this person. They're so attached to this thing, and now they're not realizing they're, like for Narada Muni, they were so attached to intoxication and sex that this is very disappointing to look. I curse you so that you can have no more of those things. If you like to stand naked as trees. So they stood naked as trees for millions of years, but he said, they were very afraid. They were praying to him. He said, do not worry, because you'll be in the house of Nanda Maharaj, and the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna himself will come and liberate you. And actually that's what happened. He liberated them with the pastime. Remember when his mother finally tied him up to the grinding mortar, and he crawled, and he couldn't unbreak that, because why? It was tied with his mother's love, actually. The intimacy was what tying him, not the ropes. So he's pulling and pulling, but he wanted to display a little bit of his godlike nature. So he's pulling, and he's tied up with his mother's love, and he's also showing how powerful the devotee's love is, where he is, tied up to a grinding mortar, and he pulls the grinding mortar all the way across the yard where these two trees are. And they were one connected stump, one connected trunk, and there were two giant trees coming from the trunk. And he crawled through it, and the mortar got stuck in between the trees. So if Krishna was so strong, and he is very strong, he's God, he's the most strong, but if he's so strong, the rope should have just broke before pulling down trees. But instead, what happened? The trees got pulled down. Why? Krishna knew about Manigriva and Nalakuvara. He knew they were there, and he wanted to fulfill Narad Muni's curse and deliver them. But also, he wanted to exhibit how powerful the devotees' love was, that Krishna couldn't even escape it. And not only that, two trees are going to get pulled down easily, and still that rope's not going to break. If you were to take a pickup truck and you were to, chain a rope and a mortar and ram the pickup truck, try and ram it through, these two trees, and just floor the gas until something happens, either the trees fall down or the rope breaks, it's going to be the rope breaking. 99, almost 100% guarantee the rope breaks. But why didn't the rope break here? Because what was Krishna bound by? His devotees' love. So this is actually what's happening. He's exhibiting the power of the devotees' love. So this is very cool. And so he's praying for that prema bhakti. Tatha prema bhaktim svakame prayacha Please give me your own prema bhakti. And he only longs for this and has no desire for any kind of liberation. He doesn't want to be free from his sufferings. He just wants prema bhakti. Actually, in prema bhakti, you'll get a whole new realm of suffering. And you'll suffer in separation from Krishna. You'll suffer in not being able to engage in devotional services that would give Krishna and his dear associates pleasure. This is a whole nother level. But we actually see a little known fact about Manigriva and Nalakuvara in the Bhagavatam. When the trees came down, they circumambulated him, and then they were in demigod forms, and they actually went away. But actually it said what ended up happening is that they were given positions in Goloka Vrindavan. And those positions actually, they became reciters. I don't remember both their names. I think one was Madhukanta and the other Snigdhakanta. But they became reciters of Krishna's pastimes. But look at what happened. They were drunks and they were sex mongers. That's all they really cared about. And then they became ultimately prema bhaktas who got to recite the glories of Krishna in eternity in Goloka. So this is the power of Krishna's pastimes and the vision of Krishna, and to be able to actually associate with Krishna and in this intimate place of Vrindavan. So it was really their great fortune. What a great curse. So anyhow, last verse. Namaste studamne sporadipti damne Tvariyodarayata vishvasya damne Namo radhikaya tvadiya priyaya Namo nantalilaya devaya tubhyam. O Lord Damodar, I first of all offer my obeisances to the brilliantly effulgent rope which binds your belly. And what is the effulgent rope? What is it composed of? What's actually binding Krishna? Is it the thread of the rope or what? Yeah. What's that? Yes. And not just Yashoda Maya's pure love, because he says, Namo Radhikaya Tadiya. What's the ultimate obeisance to? It's Radharani's love for Krishna, and this means it's the gopis' love for Krishna. So this is the ultimate progression here. Above any type of Vaikuntha worship, above any type of even Krishna worship in, like Arjuna's Krishna worship or Uddhava's Krishna worship in Dwarka. Actually, this is much higher. The Vrindavan pastimes are much higher caliber. So this is what Satyavrata Muni is ultimately praying for, and then he concludes, I offer my obeisances to your belly, which is the abode of the entire universe. Your belly itself, in the Bhagavatam, Krishna opened his mouth and he displayed a universal form twice to Mother Yashoda. And she saw within him all the universes. This is the position of Krishna. So he's offering his obeisances to this belly. And then he says, I humbly bow down to your most beloved, Srimati Radharani, Tvadiya Priyayai, the most beloved of Krishna. And I offer all obeisances to you, the Supreme Lord, who displays unlimited pastimes. Namo Nanta Lilaya Devaya Tubhyam. So this is the ultimate conclusion that Satyavrata Muni is giving, is that even in the pastimes of Mother Yashoda and Krishna, this wonderful pastime is even hidden within there, and at the end, Satyavrata Muni is giving the highest thing, will lead you to be very interested in Krishna's pastimes with the gopis, and Krishna's pastimes with the highest caliber of devotees. Now, that being said, we shouldn't foolishly think that, let me just skip right there. No, it might be good if you did read Prabhupada's Krishna book, because he kind of protects you from making this offense of trying to pervert or misinterpret Krishna's pastime with the gopis, he gives a proper explanation about how to view this relationship. But that being said, if anyone's sincere, and actually this happened to me, I read Krishna book, and I was very attracted to Krishna's pastimes with the gopis. I was like, whoa, Krishna's got a bunch of girlfriends. I want a bunch of girlfriends. This is very attractive. Yeah. This is what I was thinking back when I was like, hopefully I don't. But anyway, yes, she's always telling me about her dreams of not trusting me. So anyhow, apparently I'm not acting proper in her dreams, and then it's my fault, and I have to apologize. It's her dreams are her own subconscious mind. But anyhow, it doesn't matter. But anyway, this is this is the case. But we see actually that Krishna can take. Are you okay, Holly?
Yeah, I'm okay.
All right. Should we get some water?
I don't need water.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
She just has a headache.
Okay. Thank you, Kaushik, for clarifying. So, but this is actually this is where we're at. Maybe if you're like me in the beginning, and maybe, as my wife might indicate, maybe still that it's present to some degree, even though it's definitely gotten better. Even Nalakuvar and Manigriva, who they were totally about, enjoying material pleasures of this world, but they got an exalted position from getting the vision of Krishna and his pastimes. So also, us too, if we read and hear about Krishna's pastimes, and it happened to me, where I read all about Krishna's pastimes as a very lusty young man, who, I was attracted to Krishna because he had a bunch of girlfriends, and I was like, I think I would like a bunch of girlfriends. So anyhow, but after reading the pastimes, I realized that actually, and especially with Prabhupada's commentary, I realized that maybe there's a higher pleasure than this lustiness that I was chasing. And I realized for sure there definitely is a higher pleasure. So I began going back to the beginning, Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, and working my way up to the gopis' pastimes. And again, now as I revisit them in my, more matured years, I'm not very mature as a person, but more mature than I was when I first heard about them, I'm able to see them in a whole different light and appreciate them in a whole different way. And it actually decreases my lust by hearing about these things rather than increases. So anyhow, I think, is there any questions or comments before we actually sing this Damodarastakam together and offer lamps? Meghna. I don't have a great background of Satyavrata Muni. Actually, that would be something I could do that might be very beneficial for my life.
I was just wondering, did he write this for us so that we can sing, or was this his mood? I don't know.
As far as I saw by Sanatana Goswami's commentary, this was his mood, but naturally, when the devotee composes something in their own mood, it's for the devotees are ultimately the ultimate welfare for everybody. So naturally, everyone benefits.
But it's interesting how he's praying for that kind of love and that relationship, but then he always addresses him as, the supreme God, or the one who gives them everything, or something like that. But then he's also saying that that one Jeshu Bhakte Jitat Punakrematastam Shatabhati Vande, that the one, he's the one who's also telling the devotees that it's not by knowledge or by anything else that you can conquer me, or the one who does not know of any of my opulences is the one who I love the most.
Sure.
But then he's
Yeah, so one thing there is, even very high level devotees like Satyavrata Muni are always taking the very humble position and always think themselves great fools. You know, he says, I'm an ignorant fool, you know. Deliver this poor ignorant fool who is immersed in an ocean of worldly sorrows. He's not immersed in an ocean of worldly sorrows. He's immersed in deep love for the Supreme Lord. But, you know, he always feels this about himself, that I'm completely, you know, foolish and I'm completely immersed. So naturally, you know, he can pray in this way. It's very genuine for him to understand Krishna's position as the Supreme Lord and understand, you know, how glorious the position of the Vrajavasis are. And he's praying in such a way. I wouldn't say, I mean, maybe I'm wrong and maybe some acharya would say differently, but as far as I know, I wouldn't say that he's doing this solely for our benefit only. You know, that this is a genuine prayer from his heart, that he feels that he really is of this low position and that, you know, he's understanding the Lord's position, but he's craving. He's really giving us the introduction to Raganuga Bhakti, really. So he's craving this path of attachment, this Ragatmik path that the Vrajavasis have, Mother Yashoda, and even indicating the Gopis and Radhika. But at the same time, you know, he's understanding that he's coming from a different platform. And in that way, he's instructing us on what we should do. We should understand, okay, I know Bhagavad Gita, you know, aham sarvasya prabhavo mata sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvita. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates with me. The wise who know this perfectly engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. So, you know, that's where we're at. We know of Krishna's greatness in every single way. So because we're becoming a little wise, we engage in his devotional service and worship him with all our hearts. But at the same time, you know, focusing, emphasizing that, it's hard when you can't pretend to have this type of, you know, oh, I'm going to forget Krishna's opulence as God. This is like a...
It makes you forget it when you're a pure devotee. Like, he showed Maya Yashoda the entire universe and it's not, but the next moment he made her forget about her.
Yes, yes. But we should not think, oh, well, I could be like Yashoda. Maybe we could, but not... The way to get there, Satyavrata Muni is showing the way to get there, to acknowledge Krishna's position and our position, and to crave. The only way to achieve Raganuga Bhakti is really, the only way to go to this path is to have greed for it. That's the only thing. So that's what he's showing. He's showing, I want this. Here I am, but I want this. This is where I'm at. You know, I'm a poor ignorant fool. You're the supreme God, but just isn't it how marvelous the type of pastimes you have? So anyway, we should be greedy also. I want to experience this. I'm attracted to this. And we should find what type of Ragatmik devotees that serve Krishna in Vrindavan. As a Rupa Nuga Vaishnavas, it would be the gopis. But no one has to be a Rupa Nuga Vaishnava. Our acharyas and Prabhupada and all of them are Rupa Nuga Vaishnavas. But the Rupa Nuga Vaishnavas follow the path of the gopis. That's what it means to follow Rupa Goswami, because he was a follower of the gopis himself. So anyhow, but you may be very sincerely attracted to, being a relative of Krishna, being a friend of Krishna, no problem. There is paths for that. But anyhow, we should not try and just jump there. Oh, I'm there. I'll forget all about Krishna's opulence. No, because it's obvious to us where we're at right now. But he's marveling at that. He's comparing the Aishwarya, the opulence, with the intimacy. He's like, I want that. Give me that. He's praying for that. So that's what this song is about, is us doing that too. Oh, I want that. That's sweet. That's nice. okay, God is He's the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from Him. How do you have a relationship with a person like that? Yeah, I'm like, you won't want to step on his toes. You don't want to anger him. You don't want to do anything. Like, okay. So anyhow, my wife's telling me. Anything else before we chant here?
Actually, Prabhu, you pass through the stage. From 1 year to 3 years, it's the same log you pass through.
What's that? I don't
What you
understand.
read just now, the same log you pass through, only you don't remember. From 1 year to 3 years, you pass through the stage, the log.
You think so?
Yeah, definitely. Love is no more other way than that.
So.
You passed through the stage when you was young, when you was baby. From 1 year to 3 years.
Well, I don't know. Are you saying I have or we have?
Every one of us passed through the stage. We just don't. We forget the stage we passed through. And it's the same love.
I don't know. I don't know. At least for me, I don't feel like I've achieved the love that I want as of yet. But I can't speak for any of you. I don't know.
If you talk to some children, little children,
Yeah.
in little age,
Yes.
they will tell you the secret constantly. Little children will tell you that.
Yeah.
Little children, if you talk to them a lot, they will tell you the secret Hare Krishna name.
Yes.
Many children I talk to, and they will tell me that.
Wow.
And then I realize that we really passed through this stage, only we don't remember after a while.
You know what? When I was little, I don't know if I got so lucky, but also if you know a bunch of little Indian children who know about Krishna, that maybe they are these type of really amazing personalities who have such an experience. But
They will tell you when they hear
yeah.
Kata and things like that.
Yeah.
I will ask them and they will tell you.
I believe you. But for me, I don't know. I don't remember when I was 1 to 3 years old, but
No, but actually what you grew up with, what tradition you grew up with.
yeah.
But when you're little children, you pass through all those things. In a
Yes.
different society, but you pass through it.
So this is a very, interesting subject matter. I'm not an expert on anything, so I couldn't tell you definitively. But I believe you that children, especially who have some understanding of Krishna, they actually may be able to see Krishna. Krishna may be revealing himself to them in that way. Who knows? Maybe it happened to some of us. Yes.
Like we used to have classes here, you remember when all those kids used to come? And like we would read, and they don't necessarily have like a great idea of like who Krishna is, but they're thinking like one kid, he was so naughty, and then at the end, disturbing the class the whole time, he was like, how do I talk to Krishna? I said, well, you pray. He's like, well, what do I say? I said, well, you can say like whatever you're thinking. And anyway, they're simple, right? So it's simple and innocent, but I get what you're saying. I think it's easier for them to take it, you know?
I also think kids are more open-minded to the spirit world. Oh, I've been where somebody knew there was ghosts, and I didn't have to tell her.
Well, 1 to 3, they can still pick up a lot of subtle things and they can remember past lives.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're definitely getting more conditioned the longer we're in this world, where we're in that like fragile age where there's actually, that's why they say when you have children you should be giving them all this nectarian things as soon as possible so they can actually cultivate that.
That's right.
And they don't lose that.
Have
But-
you heard the saying that kids are born with like an empty slate? Do you agree with that? Or they are born with samskaras and karmas, so they're conditioned with as soon as they're born.
Yeah, well, they have an opportunity to be a blank slate. They're usually what happens though is we get a certain amount of karma, a certain family and nationality and circumstance in life, and usually that will condition us. But let's just say a pure devotee. I mean, Jesus even says we should all be like babes before children before the Lord. But actually, because the children are so innocent, if somehow or other, like for instance, Prahlad Maharaj, he was born in a demonic family, the worst karma to get a Hiranyakashipu birth. But somehow or other, he got the mercy of Narada Muni, and even while he was in the womb, he was told the whole conclusions of Bhagavatam. So when he came out, he was this pure little boy who we worship, quite literally. So this is our path, our tradition. So anyway, let's end here and sing Damodarastakam. Great discussion, Tej. Thank you for bringing that up. Holly, I know you can get up and dance. I hope that makes you feel better.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I know that's what you're looking for.
I'm almost fine now, but I'll be very happy to stand
Yes.
immediately.
So, very good. So let's stand, dance, and chant this. And now we have a better understanding of why we chant this. You know what? Why don't I just leave the YouTube on and we can sing it for you then.
They were here when I came too.
All right. Are you ready to sing, everyone? Amamishwaram Sachidanandarupam Lasatkundalam Gokule Radhamana Namamishwaram Anandarupam Lasatkundalam Gokule Radhamana Yashoda Violukaladamana Padam Rishtamatyanta Totya Gopya Yashoda Karamboja Yugnena Satamkanetra Udantamur Karamboja Yugnena Satamkanetra Muhoshvasakam Patri Rekanta Kanta Sita Graivam Damodaram Svagocham nimajantam akyapayantam iti riksma ananda kunde Svagocham nimajantam akyapayantam Kaliye shitam yeshu bhaktejitatva Guna prema tastam shatavriti vande Nadiye bhaktejitatva Guna prema tastam shatavriti vande Vadam deva moksham na mokshavadim va Nachanyam brineham va Vishadapiha Param Deva Mokshabariva Nachanyam Brinehamba Vishadapiha Idam Deva Purnatha Gopala Balam Sadame Manasya Virasnikim Manye Idam Deva Purnatha Gopala Balam altar whenever you're done with it, okay? On the altar. Mushchum vitam bimbar tadadame manasya virastam alam lakshalade. Mushchum vitam bimbar tadadame manasya virastam alam lakshalade. Namo Deva Damodarananta Vishnu Prasida Prabodhuka Chalati Magnam. Namo Deva Ananta Vishnu Prasida Prabodhuka Chalati Magnam. Kripa Drishti Vrishyati Dinam Vatanu Grihanesha Mamagyam Vyakshi Drisyaha. Vrishyati Dinam Vatanu Grihanesha Mamagyam Vyakshi Drisyaha. Kuveratma Jobara Mujaiva Yadvat Vayamochito Bhakti Vajogridocha Uveratma Motyaiva Yadvat Vayamochito Bhakti Vajogridocha Tata Prema Bhaktim Svakam Viprayacha Namo Shigraho Mesvi Damodareha Tata Prema Bhaktim Svakam Viprayacha Namo Shigraho Mesvi Damodareha. Namaste Sudamne Svoragiti Damne Svariyodadayata Vishwasya Damne Balo. Namaste Sudamne Svoragiti Damne Svariyodadayata Vishwasya Damne. Namo Radhikaya Tvadiya Priyaya Namo Nantalilaya Divaya Tubhyam. 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 Namo Radhikaya Tvadiya Priyaya Namo Nantalilaya Hare Krishna Hare So thank you guys, everyone. Thank you for joining online. Very nice. So we're very happy that you guys all join us here, especially